Hello chaps, welcome once again to John Robson Guitar Tuition. As always, I do hope you're well. Now, following on from the last video I did, which was all about how I kind of cheated my way through a guitar solo that I just couldn't play, and got away with it, I thought I'd turn my attention to chords today. We all have faced that sort of situation where you're confronted with, might just be one chord, it might be a series of chords in a chord sequence that look a little bit awkward, and oh dear me, I don't know the shape for that one. You know, it might look a bit something like this. So, what would be the typical guitar player approach to a chord sequence with a few awkward things in it like that? Well, typically you'd Google those awkward chord names and look at the results that you got and hope that those chord shapes were right, and then if you thought they were, you might memorize them, or try to at least, and then in the heat of the moment when you're faced with doing chord changes, you know, there's going to be one or two that you forget, so you cover your mistakes with the odd thrangy power chord or maybe a little pentatonic noodle. So let's have a look at how I played those weird and awkward and tricky chord shapes when I recorded that piece. Here it is. As you can see, I'm just playing rather bog standard basic major and minor bar chord shapes, albeit with a token 7th chord in there. Essentially, I was cheating, and I'm going to show you how you can do the same thing. Let's have a look at the C major 7th chord, for example, the one that it begins on. That is a chord which contains the notes of C, E, G and B. Or put it another way, it's an E minor chord played over the top of a C bass note, and the distance between the C bass note and the E minor chord that's kind of being played on top of it is 4 semitones or frets, which means that anytime you're confronted with a major 7th chord, you can play a minor chord 4 semitones above whatever the root note is, and the root note is the bass player's job anyway, so let him or her take care of that. And if we take a look at that chord sequence once again, but with the mindset that I had as I was playing through it, you'll see that all it is a bunch of nice, simple, friendly, easy chords played over the top of the displaced root notes or bass notes. Here it is. Now, I'll spare you the in-depth theory behind each one of those chord substitutions, because that's what I'm doing here. We can call it cheating if we want, but it is just doing chord substitutions. I'll spare you the in-depth theory behind all of those. You don't necessarily need to know how they all work, you just need to know that they do. And what I've done is I've collated pretty much all of the commonly used little chord substitution cheats like that into a PDF that you can download from the usual place, the description box below this video. Incidentally, if you are interested in understanding the nuts and bolts behind why those chord substitutions, I beg your pardon, why they work, then get in touch with me and we'll organise some Skype tuition and I can take you through it all. So there you go, that is how I cheat at chords. I will just make one final proviso though. Just reach for the guitar. What you need to do is make sure that you have some degree of separation between the chord, hitting the mic, between the chord that you're playing, or the root note that's being played, and the chord that you're playing on top. What I mean is, if I was to play the or if the C note from the C major 7th chord, there it is there. If I kind of play the E minor chord in the same octave as that, and the B note in the E minor chord will be there, you play those two notes together, they are going to argue with each other a little bit like this. See what I mean? But if I take that B note up an octave, then it's nowhere near as argumentative with that C root note. I'll do that again. It's just much more mellow just by separating them by an octave. Take it up another octave and it's even more chilled sounding. Like that, nowhere near as harsh and dissonant as it was if I played them in the same octave. See what I mean? So just try and keep these chords that you're laying over the top of the bass line, you know, on the top 3 or 4 strings. When I was playing the bar chords, like the E minor, that's how I was playing it there, and I was just playing the top 4 strings worth of it. Like that, and that ensures that degree of separation between the bass end of the chord and the upper extensions, so that they don't kind of clash and argue with each other. And that's all you got to watch out for. So download the PDF, and next time you're confronted with a chord sequence that contains some confusing, weird, scientific, formulaic looking chords, you've probably got a good chance of figuring out how to play them much more easily. And with that, I'll conclude matters for today. If you've enjoyed this video, found it useful, informative, and maybe even a little bit inspiring, then please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell, and give me a like while you're at it. Of course, you know I have some courses on sale on my website at the moment. They're taught through the Udemy tuition platform. You can reach them via this URL on screen, which is also in the description box below. Just click on that and you get to a summary of the courses. There's one on making the modes easy, there's one on like an entry-level course on learning to play lead guitar, and there's one on playing, you know, kind of slightly more involved blues concepts. Basically, it's aimed at the blues guitarist who's a bit bored with just noodling around a minor pentatonic all the time. All the courses come with loads of licks, jam tracks, explanations in clear, plain English, and contain everything that you need. People are saying rather a lot of nice things about them on the Udemy reviews section, so check out the reviews, check out the courses. You can preview the first couple of segments of each course before you commit to anything, just to see if it's going to be your cup of tea or not, and yeah, give them a try. You might as well just treat yourself. Or on the other hand, as I said earlier, if you prefer some tailored one-to-one guitar tuition, then give me a shout via the details at the end of this video. If you live on Teesside in the northeast of England, you can come along for a face-to-face lesson in this very room. Or wherever else you are in the world, you can have a lesson via Skype, and whichever way you do it, your first lesson is of course free. So once again, you got nothing to lose. Why not give it a go? And with that, I'll bid you all a good day and say thank you for watching. I hope you found this useful, and I do look forward to seeing you all again next time around. Bye for now, folks.